Today on Brotherhood of Torque, we're going to learn how to change the oil on a 6-liter Ford diesel. Well, it is oil change time for the 6-liter diesel dually. This happens to have the Ford 6.0 diesel in it, and it is not very hard to change the oil on this thing. Now, you learn how to do it, it can save you quite a bit of money, and you can use what products you want instead of being at the mercy of the dealer or whatever shop it ends up at. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Now, on the 6-liter diesel, the oil filter lives in a housing right here. And it looks a lot different than oil filters you might be used to, because this is the element. Instead of being in a metal can that screws on, this element lives down in this housing. So to get this off, it's a 35 millimeter socket, goes right on there. And you want to keep the box because when we pull this element out, it's still going to have oil on it, so you can toss it in the box and not get it all over your engine. So go ahead and put this on, loosen it. Now you got to be cognizant of the fact that there is an O-ring in here and the new oil filter comes with one, and don't forget to change it. So this, we'll try to push up a little bit. So unscrew it. And you want to have a rag around here because I have yet to find a way of getting it off the cap without grabbing it and pulling it. So you do have to touch it. Now that's the elements out. Get our box and drop it in there. Now I want it out of the way. So as you can see, the housing is empty. There's actually just a little bit of oil left in the bottom because in the bottom of this housing, there's a little spring-loaded valve. So the spring-loaded valve on the bottom of this is held shut by the oil filter cartridge. And when you pull it up, it unseats the valve and lets the oil drain back. That's why it's super, super important to only use the proper Ford cap, because some of the aftermarket ones are a little bit taller and they allow the oil filter cartridge to sit higher, which can not seat that valve fully and you can lose oil pressure, which is a big deal. So yeah, use the OEM cap. So we take this filter, make sure the spring's good, and now we're gonna go ahead and change the O-ring. New O-rings here. Get the cap. Take your little screwdriver. Work it around. O-ring off. New O-ring. On. Get some oil. A little bit of debris there. And so make sure it seats. There we go. Push down on the cap. Now it does have a torque spec. It says 25 Newton meters, but it's very easy to exceed that when you're using a 1/2-inch wrench or ratchet, which is usually the only thing that'll fit 35 millimeter socket. So you just get on there and snug. All right, top part's done. Let's go under the truck. Now we're gonna do the under truck portion, which is kind of like changing oil in anything else, but there's a crap ton of this oil. Now, different people swear that their 6 liters hold different amounts of oil. My last one held 17, and I think this one held 16. So, see what it looks like. This is a 19 millimeter wrench. Now this stuff, this hole's pretty big, so it comes out quick. So be ready and have a place to put it. The magnet here on the end doesn't have a big old chia pet on it, so that's good, because I've seen them where you pull them off and it's all covered with metal, and that's a big no bueno. So go ahead and let it drain. Just keep an eye on your pan, because I don't think the little holes in this thing are big enough to deal with this volume of oil, so might have to stick my finger in the drain plug hole for a minute and let it recover. We'll see. But yeah, it's boring watching oil drain just like paint dry, so I'll back with you in a second. All right, now it's pretty much done. So go ahead and put the plug back in. All right, clean around it. Make sure it's tight. And that's pretty much it for under here. All right, now we're up top. Pulled the dipstick up. I'm gonna wipe it down before we check it. So oil fill is on the passenger side. So I'm gonna go ahead and add 15 quarts. And we'll see where we're at. It's pretty cold out, so it's flowing pretty slow. Okay, engine is filled. Let's pull the dipstick. Let's see where we're at. Need to get a new dipstick. Looks good. Keep in mind the high pressure oil pump reservoir in the back of the engine holds about a quart, probably a little over. So yeah, I need a new dipstick. This one's pretty much done. And that's pretty much it. This truck doesn't have an oil life reset, so I don't need to do that. But I kind of like dumping the oil into the containers it came out of sometimes, just to see how much I lost, but that should be good. Go ahead and put the cap on, crank it, start it, let it run a little bit, and then check the level. So that pretty much sums up how to do the oil on one of these. I'll show you guys how to do it on the 7.3 Excursion over there, but that's more like a normal passenger car with a spin-on filter. But yeah, hope you guys found it useful. If you like it, subscribe to the channel. I got plenty more content coming, but yeah, it sums up how to do one of the easiest jobs on these things, which is change the oil. Thanks guys, have a good one.